Hi guys, it's Aegis here, and today I'm going to do another deck profile from the new, let's say the extra booster of the standard series. So this time I'll be doing a Tachikaze deck profile. It does take me quite a while to get used to the new Tachikaze because it's quite different, because they have like new mechanics, of course, like XL as a gift, which changed the decks quite a lot. And I've been struggling with using front triggers, which actually I'm still having that problem right now, but I will work that out later. And for now, this build is something that I'm confident to play with, and it has been doing well. So let's get into it. So first, for starting Vanguard, nothing special, Dragon Egg, just write on it and draw one. Then for Great Freeze, I'm running 4 of the Giga Rex. Giga Rex is the key of the deck because of like his first skill. When he attacks, I can put up to 1 of the armor gauge, or like equip gauge, whatever you call it. I just call it armor gauge, to each of your regards, and for each regards you own on the field during the battle, this unit will get 5k power. So you don't have to put a gauge in order to gain the 5k, because it's different. He just count how many comrades you have to gain the power, and then you can just put whatever number you want to your units. So of course, each time each unit can only get 1, maximum 1. And also there's a ruling that I found and I shared on Twitter, that when you use this skill, you first need to place all your gauge to the regards that you want to put before you look at them. So for example, if you have like this, and when you attack with your Giga Rex, you don't put one and then look at it, but instead you put them all, and then you, after that action is done, then you start looking at it. So just make sure you don't like do it one by one, because it will like sort of affect how the game flow, because for some units, if the gauge is under them, you can get them back into your hand, or you can do something else with it. So make sure you take care of this part to make the game a little bit fair. And his second skill is the active skill. By putting 5 gauge to the drop zone, during the turn you can select 3 of your front row regards to get 5k power, and if your opponent is on 4 damage or lower, then you deal 1 damage to the Vanguard. So very interesting skill giving to Tachikaze, because usually we see that skill from Kagero, and I think we saw on Shadow Paladins as well, but not on Tachikaze. So this is interesting that Tachikaze get this kind of skill, and which makes the deck a little different. And since Vanguard can usually gain like 15k plus, so by putting 1 damage to your opponent, it will help you easier to chase the damage if you are like a little bit behind. So that's why he is the key of the deck, and I'm happy to see Giga Rex actually getting better. And next I'm running 4 Defrex. You might wonder why I'm running 3 ORs and 1 triple rares instead. The answer is very simple. At first, when I pull my half case, this is what I get, and then like everyone just start like to get Tachikaze, and no one is like selling the stuff because the set is quite unpopular to people, until they find out like spikes are really strong and Tachikaze is really strong. Then they start finding stuff, and it's so hard to find Defrex, but then the only options that I can find at that moment is OR, so, and they're cheap, so that's why I get them. And let's talk about his skill. It's a Vanguard or Regard skill and Regard skill. When this unit attacks the Vanguard, so blast 1 and retire 1 of your Regard. By doing so, retire 1 of your opponent's front row Regards, and the unit that you retire as a cost of this skill, for each gauge that that unit owns, Defrex will gain 10k power. So the more gauge on that unit that you eat, the higher power that he can be. And because you are in an XL clan, so you can also get 10k from the XL circle, which he can just be 22k by himself. And then if, for example, if you have 2 gauge, then he will be at 42k, which is crazy because Nova grapplers can't actually get this kind of high power so easily, but Tachikaze can, even though you need to eat 1 of your units, but you also get to kill something, so you don't actually lose card advantage unless your opponent don't have a front row. But then if by the time you usually be the one having the advantage already, and by putting that much power on him, you can usually win the game just by this swinging. And then I'm running one of the Savage King. He's actually a good card, and as a rare he also get an XL gift, so which is important because you want to ride, like first riding a grade 3 and gain a circle instead of nothing. His skill is both Regard skill. During your turn, for each gauge on this unit, he will get 5k power, so very simple. The more gauges he has, the stronger he becomes. And then when he attacks a Vanguard, then you can select 1 of your unit and put all the gauge from that unit to this unit. So for example, if you save 5 gauge to 1 unit, and then you swing with him, and then you get all those 5 gauge to him, he will just get 25k plus and become a 37k. So again, very easy to build up his power, and that's why I like it. Okay, so let's get into tools. First, I'm running 4 Mega Rex. Mega Rex is quite key to this deck to do comboing. So he has a Vanguard and Regard skill. When he attacks the Vanguard, to retire another unit, another Regard on your field, first you draw 1. So you kill 1 and then you draw 1. And if he is in the Regard circle, then if you counter blast 1, then you can put the top card of your deck as a gauge on him, and for each gauge he owns, during the battle he will get 5k power. So another great unit that gains power and use the gauge. Also he can activate so many other combos, other combo pieces by killing them, and you don't lose too many cards because you kill 1 and you draw 1. So not No need to mention that the power gain is helpful, because he himself can just be a 14k. If you're XL Shackle, it will be like a 24k, and if you have more gauge, then he will be stronger. And next, get into our great combo piece, Bright Tops. So his skill is, when this unit is retired as a regard by counterblasting 1, then you can select up to 2 gauge under him and get back to your hand. So he is the key to give you resources. If you have 2 and you kill it with like a Mega Rex, you kill it with Death Rex, then of course you gain the power, you gain the draw, you gain the retire, you gain the power again, and then by counterblasting 1, you gain 2 hands. So very, very helpful. He himself as a like fighter is not great, but because of him and the other unit that I'm going to talk about later, which makes Tachikaze very strong, and as an XL clan, you usually don't have enough hands to protect yourself, to rebuild the field, or just start to build a field, but this makes it possible. And another combo piece is the Savage Raider or Radar. Yep, so his skill is, when he appears from your hand onto the regard circle, then select one of your other regard and put the top card of your deck as a gauge to that unit. So he helps you to gain the gauge, which sometimes you will have to ride a Death Rex or maybe Savage King, and then you can't give gauge to people, or maybe you don't have other units that give gauge, then he's the option. And the second skill is, when he attacks the Vanguard, you can select one of your unit and then select whatever number of gauge that he owns. Don't have to be all of them, you can select some of them and move it to another regard. So it's kind of like Savage King, but instead of moving all to himself, he gives to others. So which helps you to build up the gauge for Death Rex to gain a lot of power, or to help you gather the gauge somewhere and then let Savage King to take it in one shot. So very, very helpful. Also, not to say that you can just give gauge to Bright Tops and then kill it to gain 2 hands. So here's my tools. And the next in the raw great ones, I'm running 4 Sonic Noah. So he is another key of the deck. First skill is, when this unit boosts the regard, then you can add 1 gauge to that regard from the top of the deck. So another useful body to give you gauge, because gauge is important. They are your resources to get to your hand. They are like counters for you to gain 5 to deal damage. They are counters for power gain. So the more you can have, the better. And also his second skill is, when the attack that this unit boosted hits the Vanguard, then you can kill another regard. So not himself, then you can draw 1. So for example, if you don't have a Mega Rex, you don't have a Death Rex, but you have a Bright Tops, like with 1 gauge, then you can just boost with Sonic Noah, gain the 2nd gauge, and if that hits, you can kill the Bright Tops, draw 1, and then counter plus 1, and put 2 cards from the gauge to your hand. So it helps you to gain gauge, helps you draw, and helps you activate combos. And then next I'm running for Skype Terror. Basically he is the very similar to his old self. During your turn, when this unit is retired as a reguard by counterblasting 1, this unit will go back to your hand. So very simple. Just counterblast 1 and gain this card back as your 10k shield, or call them again next turn. If you put gauge under him, you usually won't be able to take it back, so you need to move them away, or you just have to use them by Gigarex, or if you can afford it, then just let Megarex, let Defrex to eat him, so that they can gain the power or activate different combos, and then counterblast 1 and get back to your hand. And next I'm running 4 of this guy. I don't know his name. Yeah, so I'm not trying. So his skill is when he appears in the reguard circle from your hand, then put 1 top card of a deck as a gauge under him. So another way to help you gain gauge. And then when this unit is retired from the reguard circle by soul blasting 1, then you can put up to 1 of your gauge under him to your hand. So he's like Bright Tops, but instead of 2 cards you can only get 1, but still helps you activate combo by not losing too much. And that's my ones. So getting to triggers, I'm running 8 crits, 4 draws, and 4 heals. So actually the trigger lineup worth to do a little bit like explaining. I think I've been trying like different sets of trigger lineups. For example, 6 fronts, 2 crits, 4 draws, 4 heals. I've been trying like 6 crit, 6 fronts, and 4 draws without any heals. Oh, and of course this. But this one makes me feel the most comfortable. I like the one that without heals as well, which I think by the time that I was using that kind of lineup, I don't have a very good ratio on my grade 2s, and sometimes I just don't have the luck when I put like 5 or 6 gauge on the units. They're all triggers, but that can't be helped. So but after changing to this lineup, I actually kind of like it, even though in a way I don't like it, because as an SL clan I do want to use front triggers. But then the best way for now to run Tachikaze is in front triggers. The reason is very clear, because Gigarex gains power when he attacks, and when he attacks he gives you gauge. So usually you want to attack with Gigarex first, not like Nova that you attack with reguards and then you attack with Perfect Riser and standard units. So Perfect Riser isn't the first one to attack, and you leave your reguards standing so that you can use the front triggers. And of course Perfect Riser usually is the lowest power attack line when you use Nova. But Tachikaze is different. Gigarex usually is the highest power unless you have like Defrex. So and sometimes the effects you won't eat that much gauge because you want to save it for like next turn or your next move. So Giga Rex is usually the highest, and if you attack, even if you get a like front triggers and then your opponent just get a trigger, get 10k on the Vanguard, and it will just be a nightmare. But if you have a crit, you push the damage, and then you can just kill your opponent regards and just keep putting pressure. That helps. That really helps. At least from what I've been testing, that's the case. So that basically is the deck, and usually we don't have like a very best lineup, but I think I can show you something. So first we need at least one Excel circle, and your Vanguard will be a Giga Rex, of course. And usually you will have a Death Rex, maybe one of him. If you don't, then he can be here, or let's say yeah, that's fine. And then you will have a like this, and then you will have something like here, you have something like here, and you might have something like here. So this can be one of your lineup, and usually he will get one. And when he's called, you will give it to one. For example, you just give it here. Right. Then if you attack with your Giga Rex first, then you will just, of course, you give it to whatever number you want before you start looking at what you have. And you do a drive check. It doesn't matter what you get. When I'm talking about like doing moves, but of course if you get triggers it will be better. And then like when this line start attacking, then first you can engage here, and it's a must. So do note that when you boost you have to put a gauge, even if you don't want to. So if you really don't want to, don't boost. But usually you don't have a choice. And then after that, then you can just put two of these, two, for example, here. So that's another thing. And then next you attack with this, and like select all these here. Then you get 25k here, and then when you attack, you might, if you want, if your opponent is on like 5 damage and you want to push, then you will kill this guy. Then he will get 5k boost to be 62 plus 8, that's 60, so high enough. And you kill a front row regards, usually intercept. So that's how it works. Or maybe sometimes if you have 1 to 2 gauge here, you can just kill him, put 2 there, counter blast on and get this back. So this is one way. Let's see if I can build another situation here. So of course we have this, and we need this, and we have this, and we have this. So of course here, something like this. And we have the same setup somewhere here, maybe like this. So this can be like another setup that you can have, usually one here. So in this case, first, attack again, and just get that much. Okay, I just have enough. So something like this. Then you boost, get another one. So if your opponent let you hit, usually for me, I won't use the retire skill to draw because I want to save it for these guys. And then you attack with this one instead. Kill, draw a card, counter blast one, gain another one, gain 10k, counter blast one, and get 2. And then when you attack, you can choose to, for example, kill this one. And so last one, and get 1 back to your hand, and get 2k. So that's usually how you can think of this deck. And one very little tag that I can give is try to put your gauge to your back row unless you're facing Kagero, because when facing Kagero, it doesn't matter where you put, they will just kill those things unless it's a bright tops or this guy, because when they kill those, you just counter blast one and so blast one, you will get bigger cards. But if it is other stuff, then you kill them, you might be able to get those back to your hand, but then the gauge will be gone. So if you're not fighting Kagero, try to put them all to the back row, because for example, Blaster Blade can only kill front rows, I think. Spikes, you just need to PG or full guard the safe rate attack, then you're safe. Protect won't be able to hit your back row, so you will be pretty safe by putting your stuff, your gauge in the back row, and just use them with Giga Rex when you need, or Death Rex, Mega Rex. So that's a little bit, like a little tag opinion that I can give, and what's left is just depending on what you have when you play this deck. So try to have fun with it, and if you're using this build, do let me know how you feel, so we can share ideas. I was trying to record some videos this week, and well, when this video is out, it should be like last week, but that's fine. But I don't feel myself getting this deck, like showcasing it very well, so I might not be uploading 5 videos this week. I might not, and even if I am going to do so, it will be a Saturday or a Sunday, which is like the next day that I usually go to shops and play testing, or maybe just have fun with friends. And then the week after should be the Asia circuit set coming out, and depending on how amazing the pool will be, then I'll try to get a Dimension Police done ASAP, and I probably can get Grand Blue to showcase as well. Aqua Force probably not, because the player that joined my split, usually I won't see him that often, like unless we are unboxing, so I usually won't be able to see him, which means I probably won't have a chance to do recordings on the decks or like fights of Aqua Force, which I know a lot of people do want to see Maelstrom, but unfortunately I probably not going to have the chance to do so. So do stay tuned on my channel and subscribe if you haven't, and I will be doing a Mega Colony deck profile very soon, which will probably be the week after I upload this deck profile, so I can get them all done before the next set come out, and then I can do a Dimension Robo deck profile, and of course having some fights with all these decks, and see if I can get some amazing videos, or the ones that I feel nice to upload, then I'll put them on. So yeah, I think I've been speaking a little bit long, but because Tachikaze is one of the clan that I like and I keep trying to play, even though they didn't get like decent support, they do get support and they can win. Even with this current build, you can win, I won't say easily, but at least you will be able to fight. And like Tachikaze is kind of a top tier deck right now, but yeah, it depends on how you put your gauge, and depends on what you have under the gauge. If you're unlucky, even if you put one gauge, you won't be able to hit your target. So do keep trying and stay strong with the dinosaurs, and I will see you guys in the next video. Signing off.